Did women have a revolution? Children, in this unit we will study about role of women in French Revolution. We know very well from very beginning women were active participant in French Revolution. Do you know why? Because they wanted to get equal rights, equal political rights, equal status in the society as of men. Right, and they put pressure on revolutionary government to introduce some measures to improve their lives. Right, children? Now let's talk about what was the condition of women in their families in the French society. So let's see. The first point, most of the women of the third estate, they had to work for their living. Means women of third estate. Third estate, you understand? Third estate means common people. So these women, they used to work for their survival. They used to work to earn some money. And what kind of work these were? These works were, here you can see, they worked as seamstress. Means they were involved in the work of sewing clothes. Means they were working as tailor. And laundresses, means they used to work in laundry. Means as a washerwoman they used to do work washing clothes, right? And sold flowers and fruits and vegetables. Means these women, they were involved in market activities to earn some money for their families, right? When we talk about their educational status, so most women, they had no access to education. Only women and girls who could get education, who were from rich families, who were from prosperous families, they could get education in convent. And after that, their families used to arrange marriage for them. So only this much was the life of women in French society at that time. Means no access to education, and only few women from rich community, from rich families, they used to get education, and after that their marriage was decided by their family members. Right, children? So this was their condition, and some other work they have to do for their families. These were cooking food, fetching water, and queue up in the long lines to get bread for their family, to feed their children, take care of their children. And this all kind of work was done by the women. If we talk about their wages, so their wages also lower than those of men. Means they were getting lower wages if they were doing any kind of work in the market. Right, children? So this much was the life of French women in their society. So this is one part of this unit. So here we have done the condition of women. So I think this is clear to you. So now, children, here we have done, they have not educational rights, and they could not get job trainings, and they were not having political rights and political equality. So here we have seen the condition of women in French society. Now let's focus on their demands. Because of these demands, women, they took part in the revolution. So focus on this word equality. Women, they were fighting for equality. Their demand was equality in all the spheres of life, whether that is politics, whether that is society, or equal wages. So women, their demands were right to vote, or to be elected in assembly, or to hold political offices. Equal status in the society, or equal wages. Overall, they were fighting for equality. Equal political rights, equal status in the society, or equal wages. So these were the demand of women in French society. Now let's talk about efforts done by them to get fulfilled these all the demands. What were their efforts? So children, they made their own political clubs, or they started to publish newspapers. Why they did it? In order to discuss and voice their interest. So women started political clubs and they started to publish newspapers to spread their ideas. In that time, in French cities, around 60 women political clubs were there, and these all were women political clubs to raise their voice to demand their political rights. Women were not happy with the constitution of 1791. Do you know why? Because this constitution declared them as passive citizens, right? So with this all, these women, they were fighting and they wanted to get their equal status and political rights, and they formed 60 political clubs, and they started to publish newspapers, and they did this all. And the most famous women's club was the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women. This club, the Society of Revolutionary and Republican Women, was the most famous in all those clubs which were there in French cities. Do you know, children, the revolutionary government, which is also known as Jacobean government, introduced some laws to improve the condition of women. So what were these laws? Let's see. Actually, revolutionary government made these laws in 4 spheres. Which are these? Number 1, education. Number 2, marriage. Number 3, divorce. And number 4, that is job training. So let's see one by one these all. You know, that time schooling was made compulsory for all the girls, or state schools were created. So it is a good step to provide education to all the girls. Second is regarding marriage. So now their father, their family members, they could not force them for marriage. If girl is not ready to do marriage, so there was no any kind of family and social force on those girls. So they could take this decision according to their own will. So here we have seen they could get education now, and marriage, it became a legal contract under civil law, right? It was registered under civil law. So these 2 rules we have seen. Third is related to divorce. If anybody is not happy with their married life, so easily they can have divorce. They could take divorce. So this is it. And last one is women could now train for jobs. They could get job training, or they could become artisans. They could run small businesses. They could start their own work, and they could get job training. So children, in these 4 spheres, these laws were made by the revolutionary government to improve the condition of women. Let's discuss again which are these. Number 1, education. Number 2, that is related to marriage. Third, divorce. And fourth is job training. So that is how you can make your 4 points. Women's struggle for equal political rights continued. Do you know why? Because they were not having equal right to vote. And during the reign of terror, new government banned these all the women clubs and all the women political activities, because they were not in the favor to give them equal status in the matter of politics. So this was the condition of women in the time of Jacobean government. Many prominent women were arrested and many were executed by Jacobean government. Women's movement for voting rights and equal wages continued through the next 200 years in many countries of the world, and it was carried out through international suffrage movement during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Finally, in 1946, women got right to vote. So 1946 was the year when they got voting right. So here in this unit we have done everything about women's participation in French Revolution, their struggle and their demand for voting rights, equal status in the society, and some laws introduced by revolutionary government to improve their conditions, and banning of political clubs and all the political activities, and finally they got voting right in this particular year in 1946.